Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan, and in this video I'd like to share with you my thoughts about the forthcoming Gran Turismo SPEC III release and my plans for the PlayStation Racer channel going forwards. If you're here looking for my usual race videos, then I'm afraid that this one is not for you. Now, I should point out that I was not planning to release this video because there are so many people talking about the upcoming Gran Turismo SPEC III release. And the thoughts, in my opinion, on the release seem to be polarizing. Some people see it as being a great release with new tracks, cars, telemetry, online multiplayer enhancements and much more, whilst others see it as being, well, just too little, too late. But I have decided to release this video based on my PSR community wishing me to make my personal views public, many of which I've touched on recently in my nightly live streams. So in this video, I will bring those thoughts and more together to share those with you, and which sits somewhere between the two views of it's great and it's too little too late. And I'll explain why. I will also touch on my plans for PSR and our lobbies going forwards into 2026. So let's get into the video. Starting with the SPEC III release first and leaving the Project Motor Racing till later. I'd like to say that the SPEC III release looks good, but I do feel that it is too little and too late in my personal opinion. In one of Rory's thumbnails, he hints at the possibility of this being the beginnings of GT8. I think that's going a little bit too far, and GT8 needs a lot more than this new release seems to be delivering, if that is the case. If this is GT8 in an early form, I'm definitely worried for the franchise because it misses some of the fundamental changes that we are all looking for in the game of this age and that many of us have been asking for a very long time. I'm not going to waste your time going over the fine details of the new release, but I will pick up on my highlights. So firstly, there is the penalty system, which we all know is flawed and often ruins great races. I've heard and seen nothing regarding that topic, and this just says to me that PD are still not listening to the players, and for me, that is a red flag. And at this stage in a game's life cycle, I really think that PD do need to be listening to the players and delivering what they need. ACC's track limit system is far and away better, and I'm hearing that the new games coming very soon are paying attention to this emotionally charged topic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they come up with. So, no penalty system update. I'm going to be extremely disappointed if that is the case. Then we have the new tracks. The Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, the first ever Middle Eastern track to appear in the series, and also there's the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, which I believe is a second Canadian circuit in GT7 after the fictional Lake Louise. It is great to have two new tracks, but where are the classic real-world tracks like Silverstone, Zandvoort and Zolder? Where are the classic touring car tracks like Donington Park, Alton Park and Snetterton here in the UK? Surely those tracks are perfect for Gran Turismo 7 with its huge array of road and track cars. Now, I know that these require expensive licenses, but other racing sims have these tracks. ACC has had them for a while now. And with PD celebrating 100 million purchases of the game, surely some of that cash could be used to deliver some of these iconic real-world tracks and enable us gamers to relive the experiences of our real-world heroes, even if it is in the sim rig sitting in your home. Now, if the real-world tracks are not possible because of licensing or whatever reason, and I do accept that, in my mind, there cannot be any excuse for the numerous fantasy tracks that we have seen in the past. Surely those could easily and relatively cheaply be added into Gran Turismo 7. Back in the day, I loved racing around the old Top Gear test track. What was your favourite track that is missing from the game? Let me know in the comments below. You never know, PD might just find this video and rethink things and deliver some of those much loved classic Gran Turismo tracks. Well, we can only hope, I guess. So at this stage, and with that 100 million sold licenses, I find the lack of iconic racetracks to be something of concern at this point. And then there are the cars. We've had a constant release of electric and SUV cars and trucks in recent releases. I know that GT7 is labelled as a real driving simulator, and maybe we need to take that on board. And if we do, why is there an emphasis on the daily races and the lobby races? Races being the pertinent word there. If this is a driving simulator, why do we not have an open world mode like they have in Forza? If Gran Turismo continues to be more of a racing simulator, where are the new GT cars? Personally, I would much like to see the new BMW M4 GT car in the game. Those of you who follow me will know that I've been crying out for the longest time. I'm a BMW fan after all. And as well, thinking about it, Super GT and Jimmy Broadbent, two massive GT sim racers, are now racing that car in real life. How is that car not yet in the game? I just don't understand. Granted, we are getting the new Ferrari GT, but where are the other brilliant modern GT cars? The game just seems to be lacking, in my opinion, in that respect. For example, I watched the GT races at Spa, Silverstone, and other tracks on the television, and then I want to jump into my sim and race those cars like those guys. I want to fantasize. I want to experience what those guys are experiencing, even if it is only in my sim rig in my bedroom. In GT7 we can't do that. Instead we have a Unimog, an electric Vauxhall Corsa VGT, and a Toyota Land Cruiser, and more of that sort of stuff. Besides, it's really not the stuff that I personally am interested. So personally, these are not the cars that I want to race. I want modern GT cars. I want hypercars. That is fueling my potential to move away from Gran Turismo at the moment. The last part of the SPEC 3 update that I would like to touch on is the telemetry module. This, I think, is a great addition to the game, and it is, in my opinion, long overdue. We all know that this data has been available for a while, and we've seen Coach Dave produce a lovely suite of tools, and I've recently been using telemetry racing's tools to improve my own lap times, where I can overlay a faster lap over mine and compare. Whilst it would be great to have some official built-in telemetry tools to analyse our laps, I cannot help but feel bad for the people that have invested countless hours and loads of money into producing these third-party add-on tools that have plugged a void in the game that has existed for so long. Why has PD waited until now to release these tools and to undermine those investors that plugged the gap for us? Where does this move by PD leave them? I do wonder. Personally, I hate it when a manufacturer allows a third party to create add-ons, for the manufacturer to run out of ideas and later include their own similar tools, and thereby potentially take away someone's add-on market and potentially their livelihood, or to force them to have to invest more time and money into producing something bigger and better than the manufacturer has produced, even if that is possible at all. For me, it's another red flag, I'm afraid, that PD are losing their way, running out of ideas, and that they are worried about the competition that is coming and coming fast. So talking about the competition, we come to the new sims that are dropping very, very soon. There's Rensport, which are promoting their sim as more than a racing game. Then there's Project Motor Racing, which is Ben Collins behind it, famous for real world racing and for being the original Stig on Top Gear, another hero of mine. I also hear that there could be a version of the ever popular LMU coming to the console next year. We've already seen GT7 people leaving and moving to LMU. Roy has even dabbled in a race or two on his channel, and I've seen others moving away also. I have to say that I feel that the SPEC 3 release date can only be a desperate response to these proper racing sims that are about to drop. Granted, the new sims could flop, but the hype at the moment is riding on a high and the marketing material is looking really, really good. It might take those sims a little time to get up to speed, but at the moment, I can't see those sims failing. So where do I feel that leaves Gran Turismo, and where does it fit in the sim world? The game that I have loved for nearly 30 years and which has consistently been my go-to game, and it continues to be my go-to game. I feel that PD are just not listening to us players though. I feel that even if they are listening, they're not paying attention. They're not delivering on what we want and what we need, and that worries me. But all that said, I do still believe in Gran Turismo. It is the best looking sim out there. It supports people hosting lobbies very, very well. It's mature and it's a well-rounded sim, and I continue to adore it. And I believe that it still has its place in the sim market. But note that I've dropped the word racing in sim racing market. That is because I see Rennsport, Project Motor Racing, Assetto Corsa, and maybe LMU next year as being the real racing simulators for the PS5, the simulators that we will all step up to as sim racers. I therefore feel that Gran Turismo is heading into its own little niche, a simcade niche, as I've heard some people refer to it, where it is a driving simulator that introduces people to the world of sim racing rather than something that is enduring throughout a race sim's career. I plan to move up to Project Racing when it's released, but I will likely retain GT7 in some form. And for those of my followers who are new to sim racing and who don't want to get into deep car tuning, very serious races with consequences and more. So where does that leave PSR? With me pigeonholing GT7 as an entry-level product, and with my racing skills improving and my frustrations with Gran Turismo 7 not being listened to, I have my sights firmly on Project Motor Racing. I will be ordering the pre-release very soon. I've already reached out to both the studios behind the game and the developers themselves, and I've asked some basic but important questions about hosting races. Whilst the sim adequately supported me as a host, will the sim adequately support me as a host of sim races with the controls that I need to manage my race nights? I don't know. Will it? Whilst I was invited to apply for an early release on the PC, there is none for the console, and that means I'm going to have to wait like everybody else. Will the game therefore be a dumbed down version of the PC game? Well, I hope not. Will it support me as a sim race host? I cannot say at the moment, but I hope that it will. PMR, if you are watching this video, please reach out to me because I would love to discuss the hosting side of the game. Something that was, for me, seriously lacking in ACC, and I really hope that PMR doesn't lack in the same way. Only time will tell how good PMR will be, but for PSR, come the racing sim release date, I will be taking a lot of time out to investigate the game, probably on a live stream or two in November, and to see how well it supports me as a race host. I hope that it will deliver on my needs and expectations, and assuming that it does, I can see PSR moving more and more towards Project Motor Racing and ultimately leaving Gran Turismo further behind. I would be very sad to leave behind the sim that I have loved for such a very long time, but I can no longer exclusively support a franchise that does not appear to be listening to its players, that appears to be concentrating on delivering more everyday cars and ignoring the need for more tracks and modern GT race cars for us that want to race and race seriously. As I said, I can see me using GT7 to help me to introduce new players into the world of sim racing, and I don't see that changing, but I do feel that my evening weekday lobbies will move more into races based around PMR as we see out 2025 and we look forwards to 2026. I hope that GT8 is more and that it does address the need for modern GT cars, more real world tracks and also fantasy tracks, and above all, an overhaul penalty system that includes an AI managed penalty appeal system, even if that requires a small monthly fee for enhanced pro version. I believe that those are the things that GTA is really going to need to step up and compete with the other sims that are coming through. Of course, everything in this video are my personal thoughts and plans, and yours could be very different. I welcome your thoughts in the comments below this video, and I thank you for sharing those thoughts with us all. But now though, I look forward to more great Gran Turismo racing for the next couple of months, and then a new world of racing in PMR. I hope that you will join me in this next chapter in my journey. In the meantime, I thank you very much for watching. See you again very soon. Bye-bye.